Hello, beautiful genius. Welcome back to another episode of the Manifesting in the Hood podcast. I am doing a different method today. I'm recording a podcast on my phone because I was cleaning the house and I just had an inspiration hit me to talk about this topic that has helped me to really contemplate, especially over the past few weeks. And I know that it's going to help those of you who have been experiencing something similar, especially if you're mothers, especially if you're parents, especially if you have children or you're a guide to someone in your life that you're helping them to navigate through this terrain of life experience. I know that this message is going to serve you. So please excuse the background noise. I'm not on my professional recording equipment right now. I'm just in my kitchen on my phone. So excuse any background noise or any chaos or clutter that you might hear. But I just wanted to upload this message and make sure that it got out instead of just staying in the archives of my podcast. I hope you enjoy it. Please let me know in the comments your feedback, your personal experience. I would love to hear what you think about the message. I would love to hear what your experience has been in your own life with your own children as you walk this life, being a guide and being a living example and embodiment of what source, what love, what patience, and what kindness is. Enjoy. So living to avoid trauma, especially as parents, is the wrong perspective and perspective to have when we go about life. Like so many times as parents, we want to prevent our children from suffering and from hurting and from experiencing the same things that we experienced. And while that's all well and good, we don't want to get caught up in living to prevent trauma, living to prevent traumatizing them, living to prevent them from hurting or experiencing pain or things of that nature, things that are part of the human experience that are unavoidable. Instead of that, we can live in an empowered way to give them the tools and the awareness and the self-love, self-acceptance, all these tools that they can use to transmute the things that life will bring them. Because we have to respect that they are human beings, they're individuals. They are here to have their own life experience. We're here to be their guides, right? And it's really not our job to prevent them from experiencing any type of pain. Now, it's our responsibility to not pass on the trauma that was given to us. That is our responsibility. And that can be a noble intention to be aware of your trauma, be aware of the way you were treated, and not treat your children the same way that you were treated. However, we don't want to get stuck in that trap of being so obsessed over not causing your child trauma, because there's ways that you might not cause trauma in your child's life in the same way that you experienced trauma in your childhood through your parents, but you might cause it in a different way if you're focused on not causing trauma, because what you're focusing on ultimately is trauma. So instead, we can greet life with being patient, being kind, being aware, being self-aware, learning to transmute the things that life brings us. You know, when our child deals with grief, when our child deals with difficulty, when our child deals with triggers, when our child deals with the different aspects of life that do bring pain and discomfort, being aware in and of ourselves to pass on the awareness to them and the lessons to them to help them work through those things, to equip them with the awareness and the tools they'll need to work through those instances that they will inevitably experience in life. So no matter how awakened we become or how enlightened we become or aware we become, pain, discomfort, and the griefs of life, because we're in this 3D realm, will never be avoidable. But our perceptions of them can be. The stories we tell about ourselves and about the world and about each other, those stories and those scripts can change to where we find the gift in everything that happens to us. We find the opportunity in everything that happens to us. We choose to not to ignore that there might be darkness or negativity or something happening to us or around us or in us or through us, but instead we bring the aspect of love into that experience, the aspect of forgiveness into that experience, the aspect of awareness into that experience, so that you can transmute it into something good for yourself and for the collective. And then you're living in the accordance to the law of giving. And you're living in accordance of the law of karma and cause and effect, where you're now causing an effect. You're now being someone and something that causes something positive for somebody else. Instead of allowing cause and effect to create an effect in your own life, unconsciously, you're creating it consciously so that you can send the ripple effect that goes out from that experience in your life as a light experience, as a light wave instead of a wave of darkness. A wave of expansion and awareness and growth and evolution and expansion, which I already said, instead of contraction and pain and holding on to a grudge, holding on to a resentment, holding on to an unforgiveness. Because we have to remember that our children have free will. They are here to have their own life experience, and no matter what we try to tell them or teach them or pass on to them, ultimately it's going to be their choice to apply the knowledge, to apply the wisdom, to apply the information that we pass on to them. And we can't force them to accept anything. We can't force them to accept our belief systems. We can't force them to accept any wisdom teaching, any truth, anything, right? We can't force them to accept our personal experience. They have to have their own experience. And we hope, right? And we intend that they do, that it latches on, it resonates, and that they do understand it. And can they experience a better life experience overall than we have? I believe so, yes. However, they will have their own lessons. And just being aware of that will make our life so much easier and so much enjoyable, because we're not living to avoid something, like as if we're walking through a minefield, right? We're just trying to avoid that explosion and trying to get to the other side. Instead, we're just confidently walking through, and we have this tool chest full of things that we can use to transmute any obstacle that comes our way, any situation that comes our way, any occurrence in our life or our child's life. We'll be prepared with the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And guess what? Even if they experience something that maybe we feel we're not equipped to handle, we always have access to the source of where that power comes from. We're constantly connected to the divine, to God, to source, to the creator. We constantly have that open connection. And of course, meditation and energy work and all of these things, these mindfulness practices and these meditative spiritual practices will open that channel and clarify that channel and make that channel even stronger. But we can have faith that, hey, if we do experience something together, if my child does happen to experience something that I feel I'm not equipped to help them get through, guess what? The resource will be made available. The person that we need to introduce them to will be made available. The tool will be made available. The whatever resources that we need will be there, and they're already there. Will just merge with those resources that we need. So we can be confident in helping our children grow up to be confident. We can be confident in helping our children to grow up and to heal and resolve their experiences that they have, right? And we just, ultimately, if we're leading by example, that's the key. If we're leading by example, we are preparing and setting the stage for our children to have a beautiful life experience if they so choose to have it, and ultimately it's their choice to have a beautiful life experience. We're just setting the example and letting them do the work on their own.